Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 567. Now, on this episode, we're doing a little bit of a recap of our previous shows. Just a small bit, just a few minutes or 5 minutes on each one, because it's always nice just to get the bite-sized aspect of it, and then I'll refer which episode, and you can dive deeper into it. But today also, we're going to be doing a live process. And by live, by the way, if you're listening to this on the podcast, it is being broadcasted live on youtube.com/Joseph Clough, C-L-O-U-G-H. So youtube.com/Joseph Clough. And that means you can get involved on these live sessions. Just the other day, we did a live hypnosis session, and I took people's requests, ultimately suggestions, and put it into the track. So it's always beneficial to get on these lives, and that means you can be a part of the experience. I know the familiar names now, people just keep showing up, and we're creating a nice little bit of a community by being consistent in doing these lives, which usually happen on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then UK will be about 1 a.m. in the morning when we start the show. So it's always good to go over there and go to YouTube, and we can connect with one another, and you get the live experience, which a lot of people say is kind of cool because we have a little pre-talk. As always, this episode or these podcasts are pretty much sponsored by my own company. Now, you can go to my live masterclass, which is josephclough.info/power, if you want to learn how to let go of the dreaded imposter syndrome or self-doubt. You go on that masterclass, and then if that really resonates with you, we may be able to help you with our 8-week program. But we really highly suggest that. And on top of that, we also have the app, which is freehypnosis.app, where you can listen to hundreds of episodes, all the episodes directly in the app on Android and on Google, which is Android and iPhone. And you can also choose day and night versions of those hypnosis tracks. You can even unlock the whole app. You can create custom tracks. You can pretty much do whatever you want when it comes to transformation there. And as always, if you are enjoying the app, a review is always greatly appreciated, because that means we can serve and help many more people just because you wrote that review. They'll look at it and go, oh my goodness, I want some of that too. But let's get into today's content. So on episode 564, we talked about choosing your hard. Now, what do we mean by that? Ultimately, it can be hard to change, but it's harder to remain the same. So ultimately, we're choosing our experience. Are we choosing the short, tough road or the long, tough road? We are going to choose the long pain or the short-term pain. Not to say that all transformation takes or gives us pain, but you know what? When we decide to change, we're going to come up with some resistance from your friends, from your family, from yourself, your unconscious mind, because it's been so used to having your anxiety, your fears, your doubts, your limiting beliefs. So really, when you do decide to make a change in your life, when you're ready to commit to your future, your success, your goals and your dreams, yes, there'll be some challenging times. And it's important to be aware of those challenging times, because you might want to give up before you even start, because you may think it's too hard. Who am I to achieve my goals and my desires? What if I fail? What if I look silly? What if I succeed? What if I get found out to be an imposter? All of those running doubts in our minds. And as I said, the external influences, the situations, the people, for every goal and dream you have, there will be you could say the contrasting experience of resistance. There will be resistance. Why? Because it's different. It's a new experience to be had. You've been living in that comfort zone, that familiar zone, for way too long, And people have witnessed you like that, and maybe they're projecting those beliefs upon you and holding you back. Now, that's why that resistance can be hard. But let's reflect on the contrary. What if we stay the same? What if we feel that anxiety for the rest of our life? What if we have that nagging doubt or that dread? What if we miss out on those opportunities? What if we carry on being the same? Now, short term, because it's your comfort or familiar zone, you might not notice too much different about it because that's what you're used to. But as time goes on, as life goes on, that pain will increase because you'll be looking back at those missed opportunities. And maybe at the end of our life, we're like, oh my goodness, I just wish I made that decision to change. I wish I went for that opportunity, because that wasted opportunity or that missed opportunity, that pain does build up. That is, to me, a level of hard in my journey of life that I do not want to experience. I don't want it to be a part of my experience. I don't want to look back and feel horrible. If I had my issue for the rest of my life when I had it for the first 18 years of my life, I don't know what would have happened. I'm so pleased I made a decision, although I got help along the way, but I made a decision because it is from within us. We've got to assume responsibility if we are to change our circumstance, rather allowing life to be a product of just about us. We want to allow life to be a product of what we choose to create. So don't let yourself become the product of just life's experiences. We've got to get in our mind that I'm ready to change. I'm ready to go all in on something. I'm ready to thrive in the challenge. Because that long-term familiar comfort zone of missing out, that long-term and looking back in great regret, that's more painful to me. That's harder. So choose your hard. The short-term hard of getting through it, stepping up, looking yourself in the mirror and go, I'm going to do this, face that resistance and push through, or to remain the same. And that's the decision that we all have to make somewhere down the line. And that was episode 564. So if you want more details of that, when we go deeper into it, that'll be the episode 564. Now, another episode I want to bring our attention to is episode 566, because it kind of goes hand in hand in a way. Because if we look at the previous episodes, like choose your heart, and that might be really, really motivating. Like you've got to like maybe push yourself forward. But in episode 566, it was the 3x kindness. Now, what do I mean by 3x kindness? Well, I think there are almost 3 levels of kindness that we need to be consciously aware of. Now, why? Because sometimes we don't want to be all crazy going for our goals and outcomes. Because sometimes if we go crazy hard on it, we may fall short and therefore take it not as a learning or an opportunity to grow or transform, but we may see it as, oh my goodness, I'm not good enough. I'm not capable. So that's why I wanted to highlight that episode, because we've got to be gentle upon ourselves. We've got to be kinder to ourselves. You probably say things to yourself that you'd never say to your best friend. You'd never say to your mother, your father, your siblings, your nephews, your nieces, your partner. Sometimes we say the most horrible things to ourselves that we would never speak about publicly or to anyone else. So we've got to be able to change that tide. We've got to recognize that, look, if we are going to change and transform, if we are going to make a difference in our life, we've also got to be, yes, going for our desires, but also be gentle on the journey. You don't want to trip yourself up. You don't want to get yourself in a situation where you think, that's it, I'm done for, I can't go any further, because that's a lie, a total lie. So what are the 3 levels, you're probably wondering? Well, the first level, and there's no particular order, although I'll probably say the latter one, or the last one, is probably one of the most important. But the first one is to be kind to those beyond you, the external kindness. Sometimes we have so much hatred for people. Sometimes we have so much anger, resentment, so much feelings of hurt because of that person or because of that situation. So it could be the economy. It could be because our business failed. It could be because we didn't get that promotion. It could be the boss. It could be the partner. It could be fill in the blank. Any level of external, in other words. But when you feel that feeling of resentment, and here's the thing, regardless whether it's right or wrong, like, people can be and do horrible, mean things. Unfortunately, that is the case in life. It does happen. But my worry is that when people start to feel that emotion so much, that my analogy in that episode was almost like having poison for that person, but drinking it yourself. And it's not my analogy, I heard it years ago. But I love the analogy because it's saying that, look, if we're holding it within ourselves, then we're just really making it toxic within ourselves too. So we've got to be kinder for the external. Doesn't mean forgiving, letting them go, or letting them off the hook, but we have to process our emotions. We've got to be able to realize that, look, it's time to change. It's time to transform that aspect of us, because having those resentments, those old issues, and by the way, as I just quickly look right now, if you need help with that, funny enough, on episode 559, we did have an energetic tie release. So that's episode 559, the hypnosis energetic tie release, which was also broadcasted live on YouTube. So yeah, that's the first level. The other one is to ourselves, the words that we say to ourselves. We've got to be kinder, because as I said, we probably wouldn't say the mean things that we say to others to the level that we say to ourselves if we don't feel confident, we don't feel enough or worthy or deserving or of value, all those things. It can really create a big issue. So we've got to speak upon ourselves with more love. I really believe that. I know it's hard. Look, it's easy to say, well, you just got to speak nice to yourself. I'm not saying, look, choose your hard. Once again, let's reference 564. There is a level that it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a bit hard in the beginning, but just because it's hard doesn't mean we don't do it. We've got to retrain our mind, because it goes into the third level. Now, what's the third level? Well, the third level is our unconscious mind. So when you're speaking those thoughts to yourself, and you're speaking those thoughts to the external, and you're having those emotions and feelings and all those things, do you know what hurts? Your unconscious mind, because you're directing it upon itself as well. Now think about it. And the analogy in this episode, to give you a brief thumbnail of it, was that if you had a dog and it's been hurt, like I actually referenced Sebastian, who is right down here somewhere, who's my dog. He's a rescue, and he can become very territorial. Now, if you kind of go against that and you kind of get angry, what's going to happen? Well, he's going to get more angry. He's going to get more overly protective of himself. So you want to meet the issue where it lives. You got to be kind to your unconscious mind. And I've said this analogy all the time, that if you had a kid or a child or a niece or a nephew, or just some small person that you really like they're part of your family in some way. I don't have children in my life. I have Sebastian though. But if that young child drew you a picture on your wall, it was on your wall, but what was the intention of that? What was for you? That painting, that drawing was for you. Was it kind of directed, misguided? Absolutely. Should it not be on the wall? It should not be on the wall. We both know that. But if we scolded that child, or let's say, for example, going back to say little Sebastian, if I scolded him or I got very aggressive, what's going to happen is either going to react in a negative way, or it's going to just get more negative. It's just going to lower the confidence and change little Sebastian, change that little child into your unconscious mind. So when you have hate for the world or you have hate for yourself, you're also hating your unconscious mind, which broadens the gap of the connection within yourself. You're becoming more disconnected to yourself. And that's not good, because it's going to shout louder in its symptoms, its thoughts, and all those things that we're just going to trip ourselves up along the way. So we got to speak kindness to our unconscious mind and also to ourself, and ideally to the world around us as well. Now, if you take the word ecology, in many ways, they say good to self, good to others, good for the world. So yeah, you could add that into it as well if you wanted. You want to do good for yourself, conscious and unconscious, good to others, people, but also good to the world, which would be everything in the environment of the world. Now, that's the recap of just 2 episodes we recently produced. So once again, Choosing Your Heart is episode 564. The 3x Kindness is episode 566, which is the previous episode of this one right here. So I think it's time. Do you want to go on a journey of change and transformation? Now, to get the best use of this experience, I highly recommend having some form of headphones or earphones. It could be your ones on your phone, but on your phone. Yeah, like iPhone earphones, small earbuds, or over-the-ear ones, whatever ones. Ideally, that is what I would like you to go ahead and do. Now, on top of that, do not, let me say this again, do not do this when you're operating any form of machinery, including driving or anything else in between. We want to make sure that we're in a nice, comfortable place where we will not be disturbed. And this whole journey is going to be a level of self-discovery. And it's also going to be what you want to get out of it. Let's open things up. Let's be like that child and get a little bit creative. Let's be curious of all the good and great things that can be done if we put our mind to it. So when you're ready, get yourself in a nice, comfortable position. Close your eyes and be here now. You see, it's a good thing to just relax as you learn. To learn as you relax. So breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And while you're here, with your eyes closed, make a decision. A decision, a desire, a declaration of what you would like to experience on this journey of yours. Just make that decision. What would you like to achieve? What would you like to learn? How would you like to grow? That's it. Just make that decision. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to relax while I learn. How would you like to be? What gift or learning would you like to receive today on this journey? Now, in this light experience, almost like a guided journey, you may drift, you may dream, but you will learn many things. Where each leg, each muscle, and how they're positioned, each arm can just relax, more than before, but not as much as in a moment. It can feel good to be here now. So enjoy this moment. Now you may see, you may hear, you may feel along this journey of transformation. However you do it is just perfect for you. So imagine in your mind as if you're going and floating above this present moment, as if you're floating up above the now, floating higher and higher in the most beautiful, most wonderful, most empowering way. Now imagine as if you were floating way, way back, so far back, going over as if you're seeing the time of your life in a line. No events, just a line. And you're going so far back, that you begin to feel more peace, more relaxation. Imagine going so far back, past the generations. So in other words, before your existence, before all generations before you. So far back, before the building blocks of things, of time itself. You see, before there were things, there was just the moment. There was oneness. Now, I don't want to suggest, but you may experience those wonderful feelings of letting go, as if you're seeing that oneness before you. It may have a color, it may have a shape, it may have a sound, a thought, a feeling. However you experience it, imagine and play and be curious, as if you're going closer toward that oneness, that beingness. That's it. Relax and be in this moment with it. It's almost as if the closer you get to it, the more that wonderful light feeling, that sound, that feeling or thought, that symbol, that oneness begins to surround you all the way, everywhere, as if it surrounds you in that peace, in that love. And you can welcome those great feelings of comfort, of ease, the time before time, where all was just one, where you are one, feeling the love that is ever present, the peace that was always present, the oneness within you. That's it. Relax, as if it's surrounding you, nourishing and bathing each cell of your neurology. And you can just release all that no longer serves you. You can let them go. The things, old associations, limiting thoughts, even behaviors. Allow yourself to be free as that oneness melts them away. For in that light, there cannot be that darkness or that resistance. So embrace that freedom here. Allow yourself to experience, to have as much love as you desire, the wholeness, the beingness, the joy, so profoundly, consciously, unconsciously. That's it. Now in this place, let's go on a further journey. Now this sounds interesting. That's it. Imagine going deeper and beyond, further and deeper into that oneness, as if you're going further back. And that's when something interesting begins to happen. You see, the further you go back, you begin to notice this new place, a future place, where this future, where you went so far back that you went off out into the future too. As if you're seeing out in front of you that future you, who had that ever-loving oneness, who grew through the challenges. See the successful you in the future. You see, there's no such thing as time. So when we went far, far back, we went way out into the future too. See the successful you. Send down the love, the oneness, the beingness, the peace. Allow this you to transform before your very eyes, as if this future you has succeeded, has learned, has grown, has effortlessly, deeply, profoundly succeeded in your dreams, succeeded in your desires. That's it. So let's go from that future, floating higher and higher, as if we're floating back toward the present. See that you having not only succeeded, but see yourself having succeeded along the way, where you see the things you learned along the way, the lessons, the epiphanies, the oneness, the joy, as if you're floating toward the now, feeling the gratitude for what you have, but knowing the gratitude for what you're about to receive in your future. It feels good, does it not? Because it means you're creating your future. And that causes you to be on that path. It allows you to embrace, for it's already a success, that the future is waiting for you to show up, to take action, massive and inspired action. Begin to come back above the now, this present moment. See this you in this now, in the room that you're in, and begin to effortlessly come back down into the now, where you can feel so good, so peaceful, so loved, for you are loved. And you have the desire to change. And always remember to thank your unconscious, to thank your conscious mind, that is you, and thank this present moment in every way. So breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And then when you are ready to live, to love, to learn, you can come all the way back into the now, all the way back, feeling so good. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes all the way back to now. That's it, all the way back. So I hope you enjoyed that little process, that journey to the past, to the time when there was no time, to the future. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And once again, if you want to get access to hundreds, almost 1,000 alternatives anyway, go to freehypnosis.app, and that means you can download the app on Android and you'll get this track on there. If you're listening to on the app, you got it already. You're listening to me right now. But if not, if you're on YouTube on the podcast, you'll be getting it if you go ahead and download it within the app. So with that, my wonderful friends, we're going to carry on with this live. This was all done live. No script or anything like that, just trusting where we go, how we go. But we're going to go with the after the podcast recording now. And also, once again, if you want to be able to have an opportunity of potentially being on our 8-week program, it is an investment. It is one we got to go all in on it. Go to josephclough.info/power. And I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.